everyone, my name is LATTE, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this vest. It is worked using a total of 8 granny squares with slip stitch joints, so there is no sewing. I will be showing you how to crochet a medium-sized vest, but if you need to adjust the size, I will explain to you how to do that.
For this project, you're going to need number 4 medium weight yarn with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. We're going to start with the slip knot and a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch into the first chain to join. Into this ring, we're going to work on our double crochets, and for round 1, we're going to start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 stands as the first double crochet. Back into this ring, we need to work 2 more double crochets. Here's 1 and 2. With the chain 3, we have a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and now we need to work 3 double crochets back into this chain or into this ring. 1, 2, and 3, and let's repeat. Chain 2 and work 3 double crochets, and I am working my yarn tail in, so I'm just holding on to it as I work on my first round or my double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and repeat one more time by working 3 double crochets into the ring. Here's 1, 2, and 3. To end this round, we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch on top of the third chain. So here's 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and slip stitch into this chain using both loops to end this round. At the end of round 1, we worked a total of 4 corners. This chain 2 stands as the first corner. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. For round 2, we're going to start by chaining 3. This chain 3 stands as the first double crochet. We need to work 2 double crochets back into this last chain 2 that we worked on. So go ahead and insert your hook into that chain space and work your double crochet. And repeat one more time. Go back into that last chain space that we made and work 2 second double crochet. So here we have our chain 3 with 2 double crochets. Into this chain 2 space, we're going to work a corner, and to work a corner we need 3 double crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and work 3 more double crochets back into that same chain 2 space. Here's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to repeat this pattern, and into this chain 2 space work on the next corner, which is 3 double crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and work 3 more double crochets back into that chain 2 space. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and repeat the same thing to this corner, and then I'll meet you right over here. We'll end this corner together. To end this round, we need to finish our last corner, and to do that we need to work 3 double crochets into this last chain 2 space. Here's 1, 2, and 3, and now we're going to end the same way. We're going to chain 2 and slip stitch on top of the third chain of the beginning of this round. So pick it up, both loops, and slip stitch. And this is how it looks like. For round 3, we're going to start the same way. We're going to start by chaining 3. This chain 3 stands as the first double crochet. Back into this chain 2 that we just worked on, we're going to work 2 more double crochets using that chain 2 space. And now we have this area between this 3 double crochets and this 3 double crochets right here into this space. We're going to work 3 double crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3, and now using the next chain 2 space, which is right here, we need to work a corner, and the corner is 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets back into that same chain 2 space. 2 and 3. And now we just need to repeat. So we're going to work our 3 double crochets using this space right here, right between these 3 double crochets and these 3 double crochets. So work your 3 double crochets, and each round it's going to increase. There's going to be more spaces, and using our chain 2 space, we're going to work our corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets back into that same chain 2 space. Continue working like this, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. To end round 3, we're going to end it the same way. We're going to work our 3 double crochets using the last chain 2 space. Here's 2 and 3, and now chain 2 and slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, the beginning of this round. Now we're just going to repeat. So for round 4, we're going to start same way. Chain 3, stands as the first double crochet, work 2 double crochet back into that same chain 2 space that we just finished. And now this time we'll have 2 spaces. So right over here between these 3 double crochets and these double crochets into this space, we need to work 3 double crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. And now jump to the next space. So skip this 3 double crochets right here and work 3 double crochets using this space right here. Here's 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to jump to this chain 2 space and work our corner. 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets back into that chain 2 space. And like that, you're just going to continue and work on your granny square. Each round, you're going to increase your spaces. So for the next round, we have 3. So here's 1, 2, and 3 spaces. So continue working on your granny squares, and I'll meet you once we have it complete. Go ahead and make a total of 8 squares. My square is measuring 9 inches, and I am making a medium size vest. If you want to adjust your size, for a small, go ahead and work 7 rounds, and for a large, go ahead and work 9 rounds. Then if you need to make your square larger, keep on working on your square and make it as large as it needs to be. We're going to attach the 2 squares together, and to do that, we're going to place them right sides together and then attach just one side. We're going to find the chain 2, and into the first chain, insert your hook using back loop, and then repeat the same thing to the back square. Now wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through, and let's go ahead and chain 1. Using the next chain, we're going to insert our hook using back loop of that chain and repeat the same thing to the other side. And now go ahead and slip stitch. And we're just going to repeat using our double crochets. So pick up back loops and slip stitch. Again, pick up the back loop and then the back loop of the second square and slip stitch. And like that, just continue going until the end. I'm going to continue and slip stitch these 2 sides together, and then I'll meet you right over here where the chain 2 starts and show you how to end it. So continue slip stitching. Here I'm coming to the end. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into this last double crochet from both sides. And I forgot to mention, but make sure you're slip stitching loosely. Don't make it too tight. And now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch using the chain. Pick up the chain from both sides. And then we have 1 more chain left. Go ahead and slip stitch using the last chain of the corner. And you're finished. Chain 1 and go ahead and cut your yarn. I already did mine. And here we join the 2 sides of the square. And this is how it looks like. Go ahead and repeat the same thing to the rest of your squares. You're going to need a total of 4. And then we'll attach them together to make our vest. Using 2 of our squares that we've attached, So we have 2 here, and then now we're going to place this 2 on top, wrong sides facing us, and we're going to go ahead and start attaching the long side of the back of the vest, and I'll show you how that's done. Same thing as before, we're going to go ahead and start with the chain 2 space right here. Go ahead and pick up the back loops only of both squares, and now wrap your yarn around and pull through. Go ahead and chain 1. We'll work on the yarn tails later. And now into the next chain, go ahead and use back loops again and slip stitch. And now we're going to work using the double crochets, pick up back loops from both sides and slip stitch. Remember, slip stitch loosely. And that's all it is to this side right here in the back, is just working slip stitches using back loops only. And I'm going to continue and slip stitch all this right here until I come here. And I am going to add a slip stitch right where the join is right here. I'm going to add 1 slip stitch right into this space as well. So continue working on your slip stitches, and I'll meet you right over here. We'll end it together. Here we finished working on the back side of the vest, and now we're just going to end by slip stitching using the chain 2 from both sides. So pick up back loop of each square and slip stitch, and one more time use the last chains and slip stitch into that space. Chain 1, cut your yarn. You are finished with this side, and when we turn it on the right side, this is how it looks like. Now let's go ahead and attach the front. Here's our back, and we're going to use one of the panels of the 2 squares that we attached together. We're going to place it on one side, wrong sides facing us, and using this space right here, right on the top where the shoulder is going to go, we're going to start with the neck area first, which is right here. And to attach this square to the back, what we're going to do is we're going to start a little bit differently. We're going to go ahead and use that chain 2 space, insert our hook into that space, wrap our color or wrap our yarn around the hook and pull through. Hold on to the yarn tail and chain 1. We're not going to use the chain 2s to start slip stitching. Instead, we're going to start with our double crochet. So go ahead and find back loops of both of your double crochets from side A and side B. Then go ahead and slip stitch. And same thing, you're just going to continue and slip stitch using back loops of each stitch from both sides. And remember, once again, you want to slip stitch loosely, don't make it too tight. And like that, you're just going to continue and attach the 2 sides together, the shoulder area right here. And then same ending as before, you're going to slip stitch into this chain and then slip stitch into the second chain, and then you're going to fasten off. So go ahead and work on that, and then I'll come back and we'll work on this side together. We finished attaching the top where the shoulder is, and this is how it looks like. Let's go ahead and repeat and do the same thing with this one right here. With this one, you want to turn it the other way, so the back facing you, and then attaching our last piece. Don't forget to make sure that the wrong sides are facing you. And we're going to repeat the same thing. So go ahead and find your, so right here where we slip stitch the back together into this area right here, right next to it, and then this chain 2 space, align them together, insert your hook into that space, wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through, hold on to the yarn tail, and chain 1. That's all we're going to do in that space. And now, using our double crochets, we're going to go ahead and use back loops from both sides and repeat same exact thing. We're just going to pick them up. Picked up 2 loops. So pick up 1 loop and slip stitch. And same thing, just back loops from both sides and slip stitch together. And same exact ending, you're going to go ahead and use the chain 2 from both of your squares and slip stitch using that chain 2, and then just fasten up as before. And then I'll meet you back and then we'll work on the sides. Here we finished attaching the top, and now let's go ahead and attach the sides. And we're going to start with one side and then repeat the same thing to the other side, which is right here. It's the same exact thing. We're going to align the two sides together. Right over here is where our arm is going to go through, so you don't want to slip stitch here, but we're going to start by aligning the side right here where we slip stitched together and use this space right here. So here's our last 3 double crochets before the slip stitches. Use this space right here, insert your hook, same exact way as before where we did the shoulders. We're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn around the hook and pull through and chain 1. That's all we're going to do in that space. Now into this area where we slip stitch together, we're going to pick up loops from front and back and slip stitch. And now same thing, pick up the next loops and slip stitch. And this will align us with our double crochets right here, and we're going to pick them up from both sides, back loops only, and slip stitch together. And that's all it is here, is just slip stitching together. And remember, we're going to end the same exact way. We're going to use the chain 2 right here. Make sure you slip stitch using this first chain and the second chain and fasten off, and repeat the same thing to the other side. So continue working on both sides and I'll meet you at the end. We finished attaching the sides together right over here, and we're all done with joining all the pieces. Last thing we need to do is just work 1 round of double crochets all around, and I'll show you how that's done. Now you can skip this part, you don't need to worry about it, but I am going to show you just in case if you're interested. Turning our work right side out and starting on the back, so right over here is where we attach the back together. We're going to find space right over here where we slip stitch the sides together. We're going to go into this space right here, right before these 3 double crochets. Go ahead and insert your hook into that space. Wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through. Hold on to the yarn tail and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. This chain 3 stands as the first double crochet. Back into the same space, we're going to go ahead and work 2 more double crochets. Now every yarn tail I'm going to find along this area all around, I'm going to pick them up and work on them as I go. And into the next space between the 3 double crochets here and 3 double crochets here, we're going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now go ahead and find your next space, which is right here, and work 3 double crochets. So same thing as before when we were working on our squares. Between the corners we worked 3 double crochets into the spaces. It's the same thing here. So once again, finding our next space and working 3 double crochets into that space. And that's all it is here on this side. Continue working like this and I'll meet you right over here. We're going to work a corner into this space and I'll show you how that's done. So continue working all along the side until this opening right here. This is how it looks like so far, and right over here where we slip stitch the side together, I added 3 double crochets here and then 3 double crochets on this side as well. Right over here where the opening is, we're going to work a corner. We need 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and work 3 more double crochets into that same chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're just going to continue and work our 3 double crochets into the spaces as we did before, right along the side, and I'll meet you where the neckline is and we'll work on this area together. We finished working on this side right here, the opening, and we're at the neckline. And right over here where we started slip stitching the shoulders together, the first shoulder area, right where we slip stitched, into this area we're going to work 3 single crochets instead of double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and 3. Now jump to the next area, which is right here. So you're going to skip this slip stitches, jump into this area and work 3 single crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Now once again, we're at the back now, and we're going to find our next space. So skip this 3 double crochets, and into this space right here, work 3 single crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Now once again, we're going to skip this slip stitches, the second shoulder area, and into this space right here, we're going to work our last set of 3 single crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. And now all we're going to do is we're just going to continue the same exact thing, but this time finding our spaces and working double crochets. So here's the first set, and we're going to repeat the same exact thing as we did before. We're going to continue working our sets of 3 double crochets, and right into the space where the chain 2 is, we're going to work a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and at the back we're just going to continue and work our double crochets, and I'll meet you right over here where we started. We're going to end together. And don't forget, every time you come to this space right here where we slip stitched, you need to work 3 double crochets into this space and then 3 double crochets into this space. Continue working and I'll meet you at the end. We finished working our last 3 double crochet set right over here, and this is where we started. We're going to end by slip stitching on top of the 3rd chain to end the round. Cut your yarn. And all we need to do now is work on our yarn tails, and we'll be done. Tighten the center of your yarn tail, and using these double crochets, we're going to insert our needle using back loops only. Pull through, drop 1 loop, come back where you started from, pull through, and one more time, drop 1 loop, and use as many additional loops as you can of your double crochets. Go ahead and pull through, and you are done with this one. You can cut and repeat the same thing to the rest of them. To weave in your yarn tail, go ahead and insert your needle using any of the stitches you can, back loops, bring it towards the inside, and here we're going to use these double crochets, pick up back loops, pull through. Now come back, drop 1 loop, pull through, and one more time, drop 1 loop, and come back, pull through, and you are finished. You can cut this yarn tail and repeat the same thing to the rest of the yarn tails. And here's our finished vest. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.